All right, guys. I got some taglines for you. You ready? Okay. First one. Attila the Hun, Ivan the Terrible, Al Capone. They were all 7 once. That's one. This was on a poster or on the DVD or something. Second one. He's so bad, even the nuns refuse to keep him. Yeah. That's pretty accurate for this entire movie. With a budget of $10 million, a gross of $72.2 million, 1 attack by a puppet cat, 2 scenes of human urination, 1 bear attack, 1 profanity-laden parrot, 1 piñata full of pickles, 1 exploding birthday cake, 1 murderous rapist in a kids movie, 1 scene of adultery in a kids movie, 3 scenes of assault, 1 man's bare ass, 2 car stunts, and 1 title theme song, with a 5.5 on IMDb, a 27 on Metacritic, and a whopping 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 1990's Problem Child. Let's drop some bombs.
What's so funny?
Who are you, stupid dick?
This is Sky Captain. I'm on my way.
Okay. My ultimate weapon. Super Lick.
What's that smell?
It looks like the monster is something real big. Where is it?
Darlings, you have made your mother very proud.
Welcome to Bombs Away, the only podcast recorded inside a projection booth. I'm Jonathan Young. Joining me not in the studio today, unfortunately, is Jarrett. He has taken a little sabbatical for the week, so I am joined with 2 of my very good friends from the Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast, titled We're Not Afraid of the Dark. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Adam and Ben Durham.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining this.
I'd like to start out with talking about, because we have similar shows.
Yes.
Okay. What their podcast seems to do, and I want to dig into it with you guys, to really show people that it's like, if you enjoy nostalgia and you enjoy just tearing apart things that you might have thought were good, but at times seem to be a little rough around the edges, hop right over to this show. So what was your inspiration for this show?
I've enjoyed podcasts for years,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to do a podcast where I was by myself, and I was looking for some people, and I'm like, let's see what Ben's doing right now. And it was narrowed down. It's supposed to be another show that we picked at first.
What was that one?
I think it was Married with Children.
Okay.
But see,
I can't remember why we didn't do that one.
because I don't know if it might have been Married with Children, but I think it was something else. And I don't remember, I remember certain ones, but I you said it was what, 200 episodes?
Of
It was
Married
on
with
for
Children?
10, it was on for 10 years.
yeah,
Oh,
it's up there.
So I can maybe name off like 4 or 5. I mean, he clearly makes fun of fat chicks, like all this other shit. He's always got his hand in his pants. That shit you remember, him always having porn around. But as for like memories of Married with Children, I didn't have it.
Right.
And my other thing was, I didn't want to do a show that has multiple other podcasts. As far as I know, we're maybe one of 5 that have had on Are You Afraid of the Dark, and ours is different. For the fact that, 1, Ben's fucked up on alcohol most of the fucking shows.
Yeah.
And 2,
Well, so are we. I mean, we're continuously.
Yeah, he's getting twisted tea right
Thank
now.
you.
That's
They
accurate.
need to be a sponsor, by the way, on our show.
We tried pitching that.
Yeah, we'll tag it a few more
Yeah,
times.
I'm sure they were right on board. They're like, oh yeah, drinking on a kid's show.
I'll tell you what, the bottles, they have pictures of people with twisted tea. Maybe we can get on one of the bottles of us podcasting
Yeah, it's not a
and
bad
just have
idea.
a fucking
It's for a logo right
whole
up there.
table full.
And the other thing is, we're not going family friendly with this show either. Like, we're dissecting everything.
Oh, no.
Ben has this thing where he's trying to find out what actors from Are You Afraid of the Dark have appeared nude. So we're looking up Mr. Skin and pornography most of the damn show. It's quality entertainment.
Oh yeah. So, if you guys out there are listening and you have any sense of nostalgia for Are You Afraid of the Dark or Nickelodeon or just anything with that time frame, especially like if you're listening to this episode with Problem Child, it's in that same realm. It's like within the same, in the same year. So I just did 2 episodes with them, and I totally recommend it. Where can you find the show?
We are on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker.
Okay. All right. So basically, if you're on iTunes, anywhere that you can find a podcast is more than likely you're going to be able to find it because most podcasts pulls from the RSS. So
yeah, and we do
that's
have
awesome.
We do have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/We're Not Afraid of the Dark, no apostrophe.
Yeah. And I totally recommend it. I just did 2 with their. Oh my god, they were just freaking ridiculous. Anybody who remembers anything from season 2, it was The Magician's Assistant, and I also did Old Man Corcoran. And they're just absolutely. I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head with the title of your show because like
it was bad.
We're not afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
So going in to that 90s nostalgia is today's episode, and this was your guys' pick. This was, this is on my list of things to do.
Yeah, well, I remember a few months ago we were supposed to do 3 that you gave to us. I remember one was Wild West, which I never saw before.
Right.
The other one was White Chicks.
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. And I'm like, these don't do it for me. And I was actually surprised you picked this damn movie because I like this movie.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it a lot.
This was Ben's choice last night.
He gave me the list.
I gave him the whole list this time.
He gave me the list, and I was about to pick 3 Ninjas, but I feel like I knew, like I watched 3 Ninjas.
I need to see this fucking list, by the way. Do you have it handy right now?
I do. I mean...
All right, well, here's the thing. I got a list for you.
Okay.
Because, again, John got on me before for picking 2 obscure films and TV shows and things like that.
To be fair, Adam, you do like to push the boundaries when it comes to every fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say because I'm your goddamn brother. You do like controversy. You love that shit. And sometimes I have to tone you down.
Okay, well, I want to see if these 5 films are on your list.
Okay.
The first one is one that I liked when I was like 10 years old. I thought it was funny. I watched it a few years ago. I thought it was funny also, but it gets a lot of rips. I haven't seen too many people review it, and that's House Guest with Sinbad.
I will check right now. Checking for House Guest. Beep, boop, boop. And... it's not on here, but it should be on here.
Yeah,
I know exactly. Okay, I'm putting it on.
Now,
there you go.
The next film I know you don't know because I showed you, and that's Axum. That obscure horror film.
No, this looks hilarious. What is this, 92, but made in 88, you said?
Yeah, it goes. It had an odd release in Baltimore. It was featured on Cinema Style a few years ago. That's how I found out about it. But it's terrible.
Hookman 2's kills were better than Axum.
Yeah. Me and my brother and John made a horror film called Hookman 2. Please check that out as well. It's on YouTube.
You can hear that whole story about Hookman and how it came to be
on our page.
Yes, on your podcast. So if those of you are interested in a little bit more of, not that I don't already share it enough on the show, but if you're interested in a little bit more of my past life, check out the Magician's Assistant episode, because that's where we go into detail of how me and Adam and Ben here made our own bad movie that somehow hasn't made it on the show yet. This is the first time I've talked about it.
I thought on the list as well. That'd be number 6. Here's my next film.
Okay.
I remember this being on Disney Channel back in the 80s.
Okay.
It seemed to be popular at the time, but no one talks
I think I know
anymore.
what you're going to do.
What is it?
Brink.
Mr. Boogedy?
No.
Okay, because Boogedy's on the list.
Yeah, I remember talking that before.
Okay.
This one's Not Quite Human with Jay Underwood.
Yes. Yep.
That's on the list.
And still Not Quite Human, and the third one. They're all on this list.
I don't remember seeing the third one. I remember seeing the sequel, though.
I had each one. My mom taped them on the Disney Channel as they came on.
Right.
I don't know if they even got an official VHS release, though.
I can't remember when last time I saw it. It would have been a long time ago, or a strange bootleg online.
Yeah.
All right, the next film, Ben hit the nail on the head with being controversial because it's actually the movie on the movie poster behind you, that Serbian film.
Yeah, no.
He's not going to watch that.
You tried to get us to watch this so that we could insert scenes into our own movie, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I stepped in on that one, too.
Okay, now this next one is easily the most obscure minus Axum. It's on two different sides of the spectrum, though.
Okay.
It's a children's film, I think.
Okay.
I have it on DVD somewhere. I hope it's worth a lot of money because this film is really rare. And that's Munchie Strikes Back.
I have Munchies. Is it the sequel?
Yeah, it's a sequel.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So I'll just add it to the list. I already have Munchies on here. Yeah, absolutely. Like, so you're in that realm. And this is, before we dove into Problem Child, I did want to ask, what was your guys' experience with like VHS going to the store? I know you tell me a little bit of honestly where you guys live, where you come from compared to like big city.
You want to take this one, Adam?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Okay, me and Ben are from Christopher, Maryland. There's less than 3,000 residents here, located on Chesapeake Bay, near Atlantic Ocean, Maryland. I remember my parents had a VCR back in like 87, 88. And before that, they weren't in a lot of households. You would see it like one every 10 or 20 you went to, and they were big, heavy.
Oh, yeah.
But then they kind of blew up in the late 80s around this area. That's where we had the video stores. I remember going to video stores all the time, at least once a week, until about the late 90s.
Yeah.
Well, we had at least 3 video rental places in this small
town. We still have one left. I'm surprised.
Is it the same one I went to like 10 years ago?
Well, no, Seymour Movies wasn't there.
Yeah, I remember it wasn't there back then.
Seymour Movies.
We had J&J Video, we had Video Joe's, and then we had
Vision Video.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Where Milano's is, Cafe Milano.
Yeah.
We're not. So all I remember is it was like some Oriental woman ran that place, and then you had like you had your stereotypical beaded room, you know.
With the porn.
Yeah. Well, J&J Video had the same.
You not rewind.
Thing.
You not rewind.
Well, here's another thing for you, John. And I don't think many people can say this. I never went into a Blockbuster until I was about 17 years old.
Really?
We didn't have them around here.
Wow. Okay. Like
there was a Video Joe, not Video Joe's.
That's
there
not
was
a major
Hollywood Video. But
that doesn't count. That's not like a major retailer.
No, Hollywood Video was their main competition for Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
I worked for Game Crazy, which was
that's their game subsidiary. Yeah,
that's like the GameStop of fucking.
So you guys got the real VHS store, like the mom and pop VHS store experience.
Yeah, I remember the first time I walked into a Blockbuster, I was amazed they had like 20 copies of a new release because we weren't used to seeing that. The video store would have maybe 2 if we're lucky.
Yeah. Right.
However, I do remember
the 555.
Well, we can always remember this from nowadays. You can find anything you want streaming, but back then, I mean, there were straight to video releases, and we got those on purpose. For mostly horror films, because I remember vividly looking for the corniest movie I could find that was horror film, and if you went to a certain section of the video store, you could find that.
Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you, there was at that Oriental one. I remember it was traumatizing for me at the time. I had watched Gremlins 1. I had watched Gremlins 2.
Okay. Completely different movies.
Yeah. Well, me and Mom went to the movie, went to the video store. And we found Critters 3.
Oh, with DiCaprio?
Critters, not Gremlins.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you thought it was
I thought it was Gremlins.
End of the trilogy?
Well, lo and behold.
Like, man, they've changed.
They're really violent now, you know? So
okay.
Like, holy fuck. This dude just ate this dude's hand off, you know, like. They didn't show that in Gremlins.
No. Critters was supposed to be on the show, but I recently rewatched 1 and 2 and was like, it's not funny. I love it.
I got no for it because I just watched this third day.
Yeah.
It's Ghoulies too.
Ghoulies. All 4 of them I think are on my list. So yeah, there's a lot. Ghoulies 2 is my favorite though with the carnival.
Anything with Full Moon Entertainment or Charles Bano with it as well, you'll be good to go.
Absolutely. So, the reason I asked this is because this movie pretty much rose to cult classic fame via VHS release, and it's after that network television releases. Like, that's where I remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I was 6 years old when this film came out, so I don't remember it being at theaters. I vaguely remember hearing about Problem Child 2 being in theaters. I can remember like seeing the poster. However, John, I did this because I was waiting for this at the end, because I remember on the video VHS release of this film, the end scene where it says the end, and he pops out and says number 2 is coming out.
Oh,
do you remember
really?
that? Yeah.
So it was definitely something that they tagged onto the VHS.
Yeah,
release
that was
of
in
it.
there. I remember that vividly because I didn't see a movie where he breaks the fourth wall and talks directly to the audience that way.
I mean, historically speaking, like this movie was plagued with problems, a lot of script rewrites, and where the writers themselves were like embarrassed by the release of this. So there's no way that Universal doubled down and was like, can't wait for part 2 when it came to theaters. There's no way. So yeah, it's definitely the VHS.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't read that article that I found, because this film was based on an article from the LA Times in 1988, which the writers of the film took as inspiration.
Okay, and that is?
Basically, a couple adopted a child and later sued the adoption agency because the kid was so demented. Here's an actual segment from this article.
Sure, please.
Even before the adoption was finalized, the couple said he killed his hamster and later mutilated the ear of the family dog. During the 4 years that Tommy lived with the Coellas, they said he would repeatedly hallucinate, pray to Satan, set fires, sleepwalk, eat garbage, steal food, and hide through his bedroom. When he became upset, he would defecate in his pants and smear his clothing, bedding, and the walls of his bedroom with feces.
Hold on. Whoa,
Now,
whoa.
this article will be in the show notes.
So,
Yeah.
so that's not.
I'll go ahead and put it in there.
That's not normal for a 7-year-old.
Now, here's a later story for you. He got put in a mental institution.
Oh,
They go visit him. They adopted because they're having some fertility issues. They
Okay.
later had a kid, took him there, and then started getting death threats from the kid from the mental institution.
Okay, so
I mean that seems fair.
I'm curious about the validity. Sorry, of this
And
of
I've been
this story. Yeah, I know, right? Well, no, I stammer all the time. I don't know. Like, part of me feels like this is about as accurate of a story as the Amityville story to me. Like, it just seems like there's too much where they were like really trying to sell it so they could give this kid back.
The house exists.
Huh?
That's all you need.
Yeah, right.
Well, this kid is assumed to be alive still.
Yeah, I should go find him.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if you ever watched
Bring him on
Problem
the
Child
show.
and said, "Oh shit," because this was revealed, by the way, on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast,
Yeah,
the Colossal one, a few years
which
ago.
is interesting enough. Like, I didn't know Godfrey had a podcast, and I'm wondering, what have you listened to it? What does that sound like?
I listened to it just because I read
Is
this.
it something you need to listen to on like volume 2? Like,
Yeah, really low.
You can jump in time. He does a lot of celebrity interviews and things like that.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
I love how everything he there was ever in. Like it was never like, okay, well, go low on this one. Like
What?
Iago,
Low?
Iago, the fucking, like the agency worker on this. Like it's all the same fucking voice.
Even when he was on what is it? The Squares. Hollywood Squares.
yeah.
It's like, pick me.
Yeah.
Although he's also on Are You Afraid of the Dark episode that we're going to
Is
get
he
to.
really?
Yeah, future season.
We gotta get him on. We gotta get Godfrey on.
Light, dark, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but his podcast guest has changed. Now a tidbit here. When they had the inspiration for this article, when I saw these things like praying to Satan and spinning shit all over the walls, I thought horror film, definitely.
Mhm.
They tried to make a horror film. They were going to go for like a parody of adult films, like parent
Yeah,
films.
like The Exorcist or something. I read that part too.
Yeah, well, they're trying to do the parodies of all those family things. Like we had Look Who's Talking around this era. We had Uncle Buck. We had a lot of films where someone's getting a child out of nowhere.
Right,
What's the one with Diane Keaton?
that is Baby Boone.
Oh, that's right.
And then they had It's basically they were trying. I did read this. Is that they were trying to parody the type of films where cynical adults then melt their cold heart by the warmth of a child, and it just fails. It just
The heart of a child.
oh
Yeah, I got that in
a mother's care.
mother's milk.
Miak.
Miak. Thank you. Thank you for bringing back a Ernest Scared Stupid reference.
man,
You guys also did Ernest as a little bonus thing.
Yeah,
So
we're picking the classics here.
yeah. So let's dive right in. So first off, this movie starts out with the child narrating his own story, but like in a meta fourth wall breaking type of way, where he's like,
But we're getting his thought pattern throughout the movie. As
right.
Well.
But it seems to not be consistent throughout the movie.
I will agree with that.
What's that?
I do agree with that.
He does it a lot, and then as the movie gets going, it goes away. But then when I guess the writers felt like it was lacking at a joke, it would just come in out of nowhere. And
Yeah. Well, it's like it would come in when like like someone slights him in the littlest way,
right,
and then you'll hear like his narration, and
yeah,
and then he's like, well, fuck this,
yeah,
fuck your presence, like
yeah. It's just almost as if it's like we can't have him say that in the moment because it would reveal how evil he is, so he needs to say it in a voiceover instead, right? But maybe it just didn't need to be said. There's so many things in this movie that, okay, I'm just going to write out in the bat. This movie, to me, was so mean-spirited.
That's why it's fun.
But
I don't know if that's true.
I will say, I guess it does make a little bit more sense when, like, all right, how old was this kid? Was he 7?
He's 7. He's supposed to be 7.
Well,
they say it in the film.
Yeah, but how old is the kid actor?
7, 8.
All right.
Oh, you mean in real life?
Yeah.
When he's doing this? I don't know, because this is another thing. This child is
Creepy.
creepy, irritating, grating on the ears. I'm Junior.
Yeah.
Like it's so.
Well, here's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna defend it when I can.
Of course, that's why you picked it. There's a nostalgia
But
feeling for it.
Here's the thing.
There's a reason why it's 4%.
Rather than him having to act like, rather than relying on the child actors acting to portray
how bad he is,
his feelings, and like, okay, you slighted me, so now I'm going to do this. They do the narration, so then even him acting weird on screen, you're still going to know, okay, he's pissed, he's going to do something.
right?
So
you're saying that's how it should have gone down,
I'm saying that's probably why they did what they did.
right?
With the narrations here and there, rather than relying on just the acting of this child actor,
Mm-hmm.
they went through a narration and, in conjunction with that.
It's just, but it's a muddy mess. Like when it comes to the narration, it's almost to the point where it's like you don't need it, because this is a decent opening. It really establishes who the child is, and he keeps giving back. My question is though, like, why wasn't? It seems like his mother drops him off on somebody's doorstep in the rain.
It's a mansion, yes.
Right, and then they drop it off with somebody else. Like, why wasn't the orphanage the first choice?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
like,
I didn't think of that until I saw it last night.
right? Like, why are they continually dropping it off at just other people's random houses? Like,
I love how it goes from a mansion to a fucking trailer park. Like,
Well, I have a good question for you, John. How the hell did you not laugh out loud when the baby pisses in that woman's face? That was hilarious.
I don't know. I don't usually find urination jokes that
Well, I think
funny.
it's a newborn baby pursuing.
I guess
just
so.
happens out of nowhere.
Okay, after you've seen Son of the Mask,
Okay.
you will never. Thank you.
I'm going to do it every time.
They needed that.
I'm going to do it
You're
every
not going to
time.
share?
You want one?
Yes, that would be nice.
You got a long drive?
After you've seen After you've seen Son of the Mask, where it seems like the baby pisses multiple streams in the guy's face, and then a giant like flood of piss in Jamie Kennedy's face. Well, actually, it was very satisfying because fuck Jamie Kennedy. But
He was okay in Malibu's Most Wanted, and that's the only thing I remember him.
Yeah, how
And,
about Scream?
someone-
Scream's the only thing.
All right, someone else actually mentioned Malibu's Most Wanted to me the other night. So it's the second time in a week that someone mentions a movie we all forgot about from the 2000s.
Oh, I never forgot. I'll hold it against him. Okay. So, no, I never find urination in people's faces that fun. Like, if it was in real life, yeah. But in movies,
So
I'm
you
like,
laughed when R. Kelly did it.
oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who remembers that
Right?
shit? I'm bringing it back.
Yeah, pissing in the closet. Yeah. But I've never, because I've seen many movies that do it. And I always find, like, it's a cheap joke. Like, I didn't even really laugh that hard when Stifler got it in part 2 of American Pie. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't explain why. I'm just like, and urination happens twice in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
And a big scene in the sequel.
okay, see, I don't even remember the sequel.
It was-
I'll ask you about the sequel at the end of this,
Okay.
just so you can get us prepped for
There-
the next time you guys come on.
That was different times then.
I guess so, or maybe not, because it still happens. Like I said, Son of Mass, 2008. It's not that long ago. So
That's 9 years ago.
yeah,
Well, 10 now.
it doesn't feel that long. So, basically, Junior is the problem child of this movie, and he's dropped off from doorstep to doorstep until finally somebody decides that, oh, we should have taken him to an orphanage, and then the nuns have him from there. And in this scenario, Junior lives in a world that is like resembling like Oliver Twist.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're actually making like real gruel, which I'm like, what is gruel? Like what? Because it looks like shit.
Yeah, it did look pretty bad.
And
That was
then
some type of mystery meat.
and then do nuns just walk around the orphanage like slapping rulers in their hand like they're just ready to beat someone?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, they're ready to bust knuckles.
Like constantly?
That ain't fucking
Well,
around.
why do you think he's acting up? Like everything that he does is definitely from his upbringing, and his upbringing has been violence. And I mean, I'm not going to go on a pedestal here, but at the same time, it's just like every single thing. It seems like, yeah, he's a bad dude, but somebody could really like do what John Ritter does in this movie way earlier than it happens.
Gruel is the same as porridge.
Well, that doesn't help.
Do you know what's in it still?
I was going to ask you what porridge is
It's
too.
a type of basically hot cereal with
Yeah, it's like
Oat,
oatmeal.
rye flour and
Okay.
boiled in water
Okay.
or milk.
All right, that's nasty.
Just as thicker.
Well,
than
this is a
oatmeal.
thick, soupy, shitty looking mess. Is what
Gruel
it
was
is.
something that was fed to peasants or prisoners.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess so. So, in this scene, Junior's still up to his old antics. He doesn't like the gruel. He throws it up on the ceiling. The nun comes by. Of course, it falls right on her face. She immediately sends him on some chores. Instead of cleaning up her face, she's just walking around with like the shit on her face and like is about to introduce another child to his new parents and is just going to walk out there. Meanwhile, Junior sees a news report on the bow tie killer. Now, I don't know about you, but can you recall any other movie that has a killer, like who's killed 34 people in a child's movie? Like, is that a thing? Like, this is...
Okay, I think maybe the hitchhiker that they pick up in Tiny Toons Adventure.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
That's a good
Well,
reference, right?
Or Debbie from fucking Adam's Family. It's got some kids in
I
it.
guess so, but I don't consider Adam's Family a kid's movie. This is
What?
a movie...
It's got kids in it.
Yeah, it's
You're
got
good.
kid. Having kids in it does not make it a kid's movie. The
Absolutely
Omen has
it does.
kids in
Well,
it.
see, I do think they could have gone very dark with this. That's what they're trying to do. They were making this film over the top on purpose.
But that's the question here, is because this movie has a sequel and then a third movie that's straight to VHS. And anything that's straight to VHS is either on one side of the spectrum or it's a child side of the spectrum, like Cinderella 2. Who needed that piece of shit?
They made a Cinderella too.
They made a Cinderella 2, and they also made a Pocahontas 2. It does not work out for her. And this is the kind of thing, like in the 90s, they would just direct to VHS sequels constantly, right? But because of that, this is a movie, and I kept asking this the whole time, is who is this movie really for? Because it has a television show and it had a cartoon. Or is that the same thing?
This is for kids.
I don't think it's a kids movie, though.
Wasn't the TV show a cartoon?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I feel like I remember it now.
Right. So if that is the case, it's supposed to be designed for kids. But having a serial killer who's killed 34 people and until she's complacent with it, like later on in the movie, is going to rape like the mom. He's going to rape Flo.
She rapes him.
Yeah, right. But until that moment, that was going to be a rape until she kisses back. And then you also, in that same thing that we're talking about, that's full-on adultery in a child's movie.
I don't know how Kramer fucking killed 34 people.
Jerry! Yes. Okay, so the bow tie killer is Michael Richards, Kramer from Seinfeld. Yeah.
We're also at the point in his career where he was in some movies. He was in another one for your list is
And he had
UHF.
UHS,
Yeah.
Transylvania 65000.
He hadn't dropped any racial slurs on stage yet.
Right?
He was in the prime of his life.
Right. He's wearing a haircut that then would become famous last year and,
the
and
pro
then
cut?
went away. Yeah. And he is famous for killing people in a bow tie, I guess.
Oh,
like
man.
he's the bow tie killer. He's he's got a gimmick just like the Sticky Bandits have a gimmick.
That's
like,
right.
You know, so Junior sees him and admires his MO and decides to start wearing a bow tie too, right? You would think that this has more symbolism than it does in this movie. Like the bow tie is the thing, you know. If you saw a ginger with a bowl cut and a bow tie on, you're like, well, he's doing some Problem Child cosplay.
Well, he was
And-
he was dressed as Chucky
Pretty much.
in one of his like before he gets adopted.
Oh yeah,
scenes.
and
He was
when
in
it's a
the-
different child,
He was in like
actor.
the overalls. With
when he
yeah,
feeds the cat detergent.
detergent. Yeah,
Yeah.
He looks just like Chucky, and I mean that was clearly intentional.
Oh, more than likely.
Clearly
Yeah,
intentional.
I think Child's Play came out in '88. So
Yes, 2
Yeah.
years for this one.
yeah, so yeah, for sure. Because there's a additional thing here. I mean, I don't even need to apologize to listeners. We're always so over the place, so it doesn't quite matter. But there is a thing in here talking about. There's a trivia that I noticed where basically other horror movie monsters and stuff review this movie. Yes. No, I'm dead serious. Okay, here it is. An ad campaign for the film included, quote, reviews from a number of famous movie villains. Quote, Al Capone, 4-star fun for the whole gang. Captain Hook, 2 thumbs up. Frankenstein, 10 out of 10. Junior had me in stitches. Freddy Krueger, this kid gives me nightmares. Leatherface, Junior is a real cut-up. Darth Vader, I wish he were my son. And Bart Simpson, don't have a cow, just see the movie, dude.
See, I think that's brilliant.
That's
There's an
actually,
award.
Yeah, that seems fun, right? But it goes right into this thing. Is like, well, Chucky should have been in that list too.
Yeah.
But Chucky doesn't.
That's not Universal.
Chucky should have been like, I want to play.
Is that
with
yeah.
this
Is
kid.
that Universal, John?
Oh, what?
Russian Company for Child's Play. Was that Universal?
Not exactly sure, but I mean, Darth Vader wasn't Universal. That's Fox.
That's true.
You know, Frankenstein's Universal in this, and I'm pretty sure. Well, Captain Hook is free to use, and Bart Simpson's was Fox at the time too. So I don't know. I don't think. When you're talking about just like making up quotes, like it's like who cares really? I don't think you need the rights to that. But that's the kind of level that we're on, where it's like if you need to sell this, that's where it should be. So moving back to the plot here, we're now introduced to John Ritter and his wife. It's Amy Yazbek. Is that how you pronounce it?
So,
Yeah, right. And now John Ritter is his name is Ben. Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
that's a good name. That's a strong
Right,
name.
that's a strong name, but not as strong as Big Ben, which is his father.
That's probably my favorite character.
Big Ben.
Yeah.
Jack Warden was very good.
Which you guys referenced last week on your show. You referenced Dirty Work, and he's the grandfather in Dirty Work.
Yeah, where did I mention that at? What part was
I don't remember. You weren't talking. You were talking about Ben had a story about being in Afghanistan with the fish, and you referenced that the fish was their one whole Dirty Work. I love Dirty Work, that movie,
I
by the
do.
way, too, where they're placing fish inside of
the
all
bomb house.
Yeah, the mafia house, and then it's all off camera. They're just sitting there holding fish. Well, somebody's like, he's shooting me! Now he's chopping me with the chainsaw! Yeah, I think it's the best scene other than Chris Farley's stuff in that movie. At least your nose wasn't bitten off by a Saigon whore!
Yeah, I had to post that on a DJ forum the other day because people were talking about people fighting to odd music, and I posted this scene where he gets the jukebox song wrong.
So, the grandfather from Dirty Work is the grandfather in this movie.
Yeah, Jack Warden.
Yeah, Jack Warden, and
He's also in another movie that's been list is Carrot Top's movie Chairman of the Board.
Oh God,
he plays the
it's on
event
my
on there.
list.
It has to be already on there.
Yeah, it's through Carrot Top.
Yeah. So, Ben and his wife Flo are trying to have a child. Flo is obviously like trying to just get up the ranks in like I don't know the community, and she's obviously materialistic and focused on what other people think about her. And then you have Ben, who doesn't have a set of balls whatsoever, and kowtows to his wife. Is being shit on by his father, who is about to sell the entire company. His father is trying to run for mayor and is going to sell the established store, which is called Big Ben's, like sporting goods, right? And in it, I love this. It says, Big Ben Sporting Goods, a store made by Americans for Americans, but it has a London theme.
Yeah. I was getting kind of the Walmart vibe from this store as well.
Oh,
with
yeah.
color schemes and stuff.
Oh, it's definitely.
I'm surprised you missed the Donald Trump reference.
I mean, which one? The one where he went on the news and showed his ass and nobody probably cared?
No,
Yes,
it's actually the first scene with Ben and Flo.
Okay.
Where they're talking about names. Because she goes on this, says Henry. She disagrees with it and says, what about Donald? It means powerful and something about money.
She said Ronald.
I thought it was Donald.
Yeah, she said Ronald.
Okay.
Yeah, which would be a Reagan reference more. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and
we
that would make
are
sense.
coming out of the 80s capitalism
Yeah,
era.
yeah. But so this is his character. Now it's established from this doctor that seems to be bumbling and stupid. And I don't believe is even really a doctor, that Flo can't have children of her own.
It is Donald. I just checked the script.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
you guys have
just
$10.
accessing. I made no bets.
Yeah, we never
yeah.
We're always talking about money on
just trying to lean
bets.
on me.
Yeah.
Right.
I lost a bet with him on our podcast, and now he always wants to make fucking bets and shit.
Right. Did he win it or lose it?
He won it.
Oh,
but
okay.
It was
so
for
now
something.
one time, and he wants to.
It was some kind of.
I love how we're taking his word for it too.
Yeah, we were. I was like half right, and then but I was still wrong.
Sure. So, Ben goes to see his father. In this scene, Dennis Dugan, the director, makes a cameo.
I had no idea it was him until you said something when we watched it, by the way.
Yeah, he likes to make cameos in his own movies.
Like Stanley.
Yeah, I mean, but you won't know it's him. At least Stanley, you know. Dennis Dugan makes cameos that nobody cares about. Dennis Dugan is mostly famous for a lot of Adam Sandler's like earlier work, and then
The only ones that matter.
well, there's some that don't matter, and he's still
Well, that
responsible
too.
for those too.
Adam Sandler has like 2 good films.
And they are.
Well,
I mean, if you're gonna say it, you got to now come out with
Billy
your opinion.
Madison.
Okay.
And like I was telling you last night,
Mhm.
I know Happy Gilmore is a good one.
And that's
But you
the
like-
2, but also Big Daddy should
You
be in
like
there.
Big Daddy,
and
and
that's about
to be
it.
honest, I don't think I've seen Big Daddy all the way through either.
It happens. But you've seen this multiple times
You
somehow.
know, Billy Madison was one of those films. I just watched it like a year or two ago. It's one of those films that I remember liking when I was like 12 or 13 when it came
Sure.
out, but didn't like it at all as an older adult. And I tell you what other movie that happened to me. You won't believe this one. Movie I thought was hilarious when I was like 16, 17, but I watched a few years ago, hated it. It's Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
You hate
Oh,
this
no,
movie?
I didn't like it when I watched it second time. I remember loving it before.
Kevin's going to
but-
be pissed at you. He's going to hear this. He's
you know,
not gonna-
I just got 20 minutes in the movie, and I'm like, I don't like these jokes anymore.
Oh, but you loved it back then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Kevin Smith himself would be like, well, it's just dick and fart jokes. Like, what do you want? Like,
and weed jokes.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
thing is, I don't like drug humor. I never found it funny, and that's the nerve.
Well,
key.
it's 'cause
See, that's
you
how I
didn't-
feel about urination.
You never did drugs.
No.
You've never smoked weed in your life.
But usually, when it comes to weed, too, it's over exaggerated as to what actually happens.
Now,
So,
yeah.
always, it always has.
Oh, yeah,
it was like,
that's true.
oh my god, there's a tie dye like
Yeah,
like
you
kaleidoscope going on behind me.
hallucinate. That's
like that's
acid.
not. Yeah, that's not how it goes down.
Hold on.
So okay,
I'm going to take
okay. So his grandfather says, "I'm selling the store to the Japs," which immediately is like just like whoa.
Yeah, that was definitely added for TV after like
I'm
mid
sure.
90s.
Oh, I'm sure. So this movie is also famous, as you mentioned, editing. It's famous for having like over 12 additional minutes of footage that's in the TV version, which we actually watched because, like I said, I think most people saw this film on network television. I think the network that I call it on was the USA Network. Why? Because Problem Child, the cartoon, was also there at the same time. So they would like kind of cross promote it in that way.
And it had what like the TBS syndrome had with Back to the Future, where it was on like every damn weekend.
Mhm.
I remember Problem Child was on very, very often. I mean, at
Yeah.
least every few weeks. Now, there was a few scenes that deleted, I don't want to call it deleted, but the televised version, I don't remember the milkman scene on TV.
The whole
but-
helicopter chase and
Yeah,
everything.
I don't remember
I
that
don't
one.
either, but
There was another part. I remember the camping porta potty scene was definitely remember. I remember the cat fertilizing scene, which is the first one with the neighbor.
okay.
I remember those, but the milkman scene got lost on me.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know why they didn't just keep it in because like the running time for this movie is 82 minutes, and I'm just like, why don't you just round it out with the additional 12 and make it a solid 90 or like a little bit over 90 at least, because it doesn't really help the movie though. Like the scenes that we saw only establish John Ritter as character to be just even more completely just a B male. Like he's not alpha whatsoever. So now we have them going to an adoption agency. Meanwhile, the nuns have had it with Junior. They want him out of the orphanage, and we're introduced to Gilbert Gottfried's character, who at first is defending Junior and trying to keep him in the system, right? Because he knows that he's already been quote unquote returned 30 times. And like, I'm pretty sure you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean the adoption process takes people like a long time. It's
Not in this movie. It takes
Yeah.
them about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean in real life you're gonna need references from basically everybody in your life. I mean it's gonna be
Oh, yeah.
a few years
Well,
in some
okay.
cases.
Well, that's the thing is this movie suspends a lot of believability. But and we're also not really introduced to how long it actually does take between Gilbert Gottfried being like, you got yourselves a kid, and also them, coming and picking him up. We don't know how much time has passed, so I have to give
It's assumed to be a few weeks.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what I was getting.
Right.
And the reason is because the weather never changes where they're at. It seems like springtime with like baseball happening and shit.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, how easy is it to adopt a child in 1990? Because it was like based on a handshake, and the fact that he's been returned 30 times.
Yeah, well, they want to get rid of the kid now. That's the thing. That's why they only show him one kid.
Right.
And by the way, the same thing happened with the article that I mentioned. The people said that the adoption agency only showed them one kid.
Yeah.
For that reason, they want to get rid of him.
Jeez.
Going back a little bit, we didn't
Yeah, go
talk about the costume of how he finds that bow tie. And
on the My Buddy doll?
Yeah, and
I had a My Buddy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Did you have one? How heavy were those damn things? I remember that I didn't have one though.
I mean, I remember busting my sister's teeth open with the face of it because the face was hard. This is like hard plastic.
Because when he
But-
throws it to the ground, it makes a really loud noise for like
Yeah,
I threw
because
stuffed
that's
animal
its
out there.
head.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
so
sense. Then.
imagine that noise
Adam
on
had a-
somebody's face, because that was my sister.
Adam had a wrestling buddy. He had a Hulk Hogan.
Oh, they're different.
Yeah, those things are really
Yeah.
strong. I mean, those things were like 2 feet
Yeah.
long.
What were they called? I mean,
My wrestling buddies or
ring
something like that.
buddies or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
You still got it, don't you? Somewhere.
Somewhere in
around.
storage, yeah.
Which one was it?
Hulk
Hulk
Hogan.
or
Yeah,
the
he had
Ultimate
Hulk
Warrior?
Hogan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those. Like that commercial showed you how to like just jump on your bed and jump on the furniture. It didn't matter. You're slamming people. It was amazing. But yeah, no, my buddy, you slam his head on the ground, you're gonna hear a noise. Like, let me tell you, that thing is hard plastic. But that's where he stole it from. But my buddy didn't have a bow tie. My buddy was in overalls like Chucky. That like my buddy and Chucky, I don't know which one came first.
But they'd already used the Chucky looking thing for him in the crib.
Right.
Well, the other thing I can think about is the fact that you do have some of these like nursery schools and other schools have a bunch of toys laying
Sure,
around. Like, you got
and-
parts laying around.
Yeah.
Somebody just took it off.
No,
there.
I know. I'm being cynical. So, meanwhile, Jr. has been writing to the Bowtie Killer, and the Bowtie Killer thinks because he's signing it Jr. that Jr. is another convict from another jail, and that they're gonna get out together, and that they're gonna like terrorize the town, right? And in this scene, the Bowtie Killer seems to have superpowers because he picks up a full weight set and throws it over into a second-story balcony with no effort whatsoever, and completely like has enough force to knock over the warden. And then we're seeing in another scene has injured him to the point of breaking his arm and causing severe lacerations all over his face.
He's got an eye patch on.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? He fell. Like,
Yeah.
We also have to mention the amount of fear that the other prisoners have for him. Because
So
everybody's-
much fear.
Yeah.
and guards.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, people are wanting to build on their backwards for him. He asks for a cigarette. Like, everybody pulls out one. He has somebody read him a letter, etc.
Now, I can tell you, as a prior correctional officer, and you know, our father also was completely over the top. This shit, nothing like that fucking happened.
Well, my thing, this is the way
People are smoking. That's not a thing, right?
No,
maybe back then.
Well, it was in Maryland. It was outlawed.
This is Illinois, by the way. Filmed in Texas, but supposed to be Illinois.
In Maryland, smoking in prisons was banned in 2001.
Oh, okay. So it was a
Apparent-
thing.
Yeah, it was a thing, but not like
Sure.
you see it in this.
the other thing I want to bring up here, and
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's touched this before, anything I've read before or seen, is the fact that the Bowtie Killer is a serial killer, sociopath, yet he's getting letters from someone he's never met before and wants to partner immediately.
And he's in general population.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You
I'm
don't
thinking
kill
that-
34 people and be in general
Yeah.
population.
yeah, and I think is someone like that's going to be alone.
Okay. So in a movie full of unbelievable circumstances, like the Bowtie Killer situation and how he escapes and everything else is probably the most unbelievable part of this entire
Oh,
movie.
absolutely.
Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And we're about to get there. But Flo and Ben adopt Junior, and they take him home, and immediately they've decided that before he gets there, they're going to invest in a room full of clowns as decorations. Which, okay, to be fair, yep,
What's that sound?
that's him dragging his beard on the microphone. To be fair, my mom decorated my room in clowns. Not like this though. This is over the top.
It looks like a 4-year-old sort of almost.
It's beyond that. Like he's sleeping in a clown bed.
So,
like is a full clown.
I know we're going to talk about Sequel later, but there's a really funny scene in the next movie, College Town 2, where his bed where that woman moves in is now a jail cell. I was like, bars on
Well,
it. Shit.
I'll tell you this. I feel that room was fucking terrifying. Our
Yeah.
cousin,
Mhm.
our cousin used to be in Barnum and Bailey Circus. He still performs down in Myrtle Beach.
What, on the street? Because they're bankrupt.
Well, he still does perform. His name's Brian Dangerous. real name Brian Fulton. And
Okay.
Whenever I see these clowns, I think of our podcast with one of the best known Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes, which is Laughing in the Dark with Zebo the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as like that whole room was fucking creepy in Problem Child, like I felt like there was a scene missing, but obviously not because we watched all the deleted scenes.
I mean, clearly these people, these two, Ben and Flo, are completely out of touch with reality. But like, why not see what he's into before investing an entire room full of shit? Like,
you would think.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. But I think that's the point. It's supposed to be over the top.
There was no. Oh, see, that's the thing, though. Like, okay, there was in an adoption. There was like meetings where you meet the kid. Like, oh, here's your kid. Go pick him up.
Right.
Fucking. Oh, hey, I'm Ben.
And
get in the car.
And I would be on your side of defending it and being like, oh, everything's supposed to be over the top if this movie didn't try so hard to like try to attack it from both ends. Like 1 minute it wants to be serious and endearing and be like, oh, you should be caring about this kid in this scene because somebody said something to hurt his feelings. And then the next scene it's like, this kid's the devil, he's a piece of shit, he's from hell.
Yeah,
and you're just like, I don't know how to feel.
I know why that happened, and that's because of the disagreements happening with executives. And if it would have been the writers doing their dream, I think the film would have been better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you have conflicting thoughts and feelings and how serious you should be taking this film every other scene. So,
it's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And
so
we're all riding it. We're riding it together.
Oh, aren't we? Big Ben, grandfather Ben, shows up, right? And once again, somebody else in this film is completely rude, insensitive, mean to somebody else.
All right, this part right here were some of the best lines in the movie. I really like the one where he says, "You found someone to do something with your semen or something."
Oh yeah,
it's just.
That's right.
But it's like when you really look at this,
Big Ben.
I do too. But it's like every single person in this film is rude, insensitive, and speaks their mind. It's actually not reality.
Well,
like
the best way to love.
I was waiting. See, I got Problem Child 1 and Problem Child 2 mixed up because fucking Big Ben like tries to spank Junior in the second one, and like he's like taking his shirt off like they're gonna fight or something.
Takes his belt off, yeah.
Yeah. And I was waiting for that scene the whole fucking movie. I'm like, oh fuck, is it the second one? But
yeah. So this is where he's like, no one would say out loud, like before they've even met the child, like he's a demon. He's like probably the devil. Like he doesn't know yet. He has no idea. He's never even seen the child's face.
Yeah, there was
like,
a lot of talk about that, especially the hatred of adoption.
Yes, which is so
movie.
weird. This movie's so anti-adoption, like for no reason whatsoever. Like it almost as if somebody was like, we don't believe in adoption. We don't, because what the comments that are made, Flo at one point in the movie says like, I don't want a secondhand kid.
I don't want a
and,
secondhand clothes, so I don't want a secondhand kid.
Did you know
it's so cruel.
Or John, did you know anybody who was adopted back in like school days?
I mean, I do.
No.
I do. Yeah.
No.
Did they feel left out at any point?
Did they what?
No.
Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't met too many people who were adopted, but from what I've heard, like they didn't have a traumatizing experience that's projected in this movie.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And for the most part, those who were like they were well adjusted and they were taken care of and probably taken care of better than those who were born, into their family because I feel like those parents go above and beyond. You know, maybe they aren't buying clown room bedrooms, but you know they're doing above and beyond because they're grateful to have said child. You know. You see these movies or stories where like either the parents are super horrible to like a really good child or the child's horrible to a really good family and you're like that's not reality, you know, like it doesn't. I've never heard of a horror story like the article is for sure. Like I'm sure it exists.
I do like how the wife is a bitch and like really the only person that deserves, you know, like Junior to like not mess with is John Ritter's character,
right?
But like, you know, when he does something, he affects fucking everybody.
Right, and this is a movie also where it should have been that John Ritter sees that the Junior is pretty much bad after like the second incident, and it goes on the defensive instead of being instead of being in the dark. And I think this movie would have also worked better if John Ritter never saw what Junior did wrong. Right, and everybody else is like, I feel like I'm crazy.
Yeah, he's just blind to everything.
Right,
yeah.
It would have been better, right? And then it's revealed, like, and it becomes a betrayal,
Right.
of feelings instead of this, like John Ritter's ready to give up on him and send him away too.
Yeah, I mean, did you also notice that Junior never has a conversation with Flo?
He talks back.
Well, there's never a change of dialogue. It's always she says something after the fact that he says something, but they never actually talk to each other. And I wonder if they planned that.
That's true.
I don't know. All right. Well, okay. So in this scene, he catches the clown room on fire. That's the first meeting.
That fire really got out of hand really quickly. By the way,
way quickly. I don't think
like,
they were downstairs more than a minute.
Yeah, it was like it had some type of flammable. Liquid. They used that was just matches on them, ready to go.
Right. And then
when was the cat in there with him?
Yeah, why was the cat in there with him? Like the cat just stayed there with smoke inhalation and then so he takes the cat.
I didn't watch that scene with you because I think I stepped in the room for a minute, but I did laugh out loud last time I watched that. That room was just like Khalil Blake's
full of flames. And then they're like, "Oh my god, it must have been a short, right?" Which it could be believable. And then grandfather's still talking shit about Junior, and so Junior picks up the cat and throws it at him, and it's an obvious like doll. It's not even like stiff like a cat might be when it goes in the air. It's just a rag doll that flies through him. He mimics like being attacked by it, and then falls down the stairs. And then we cut to Big Ben being wheeled out on a stretcher and being like, "Get rid of the kid." Meanwhile, the cat is already fully bandaged up and walking across the lawn.
Vet.
Yeah. Oh,
the animal rights people had a lot to say about that scene, by the way, and they don't like the fact that the poster has a cat in a dryer.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, nobody likes this film except for you two.
Then here's my question: then, if no one liked it, then why do we have two sequels, a cartoon show, multiple runs of syndication, and a reboot coming out? Because I just found an article on that.
Adam, there are 9 Land Before Times.
Oh, that got up there.
Yeah.
Well, people love the first film.
Motherfucking tree stars.
But also, I watched Home Alone 5 for Christmas.
What the fuck?
I laughed because it was just so.
I remember
3.
seeing
That's
3.
Yeah. See, no, it's never a question if anybody likes it. When Mark Hamill just recently said, he goes, "Listen, kids, it's not about whether the movie is good. It's about how much money it's going to make."
Right.
And that's what this comes down to. Problem Child 2 was a surprise sleeper hit when it came to like having a cult following somewhere.
Okay,
and they just threw more money at it.
It's a cult classic, but there's a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
Like I remember reading that thing about like, oh, fucking Yelp. Yelp's the way to go. Like fucking Yelp, you get all your fucking reviews. They're so accurate. And then all of a sudden, like, be like, oh, fucking Yelp. You can't go off what they say anymore.
Well, who says that? Because the movie studios will make you believe that you should never go off of Rotten Tomatoes.
When was Rotten Tomatoes like the fucking
the end all and be all?
Yes.
Well, I think it came. It's grown up in popularity in the past, like 5 years. But I feel like it is accurate.
I will at least say that when I go see a movie, let me get on here and see what fucking Rotten Tomatoes says first.
No, I look just to be like, oh, Justice League, this is gonna be a shit show.
Fuck
because it was
Willow 2, baby boy.
Willow 2. Okay, so we are taken back to the jail, and the bow tie killer is having a psychological examination in which somehow the warden is allowed in the room at the same time and is allowed to voice his opinion during the examination. Not a thing. And then, as soon as the warden is asked to exit the room, Bowtie Killer reveals his true self, strangles the man on the desk, and then it's just seen flashed over to him in a trench coat in a car, like covering his face a little bit and leaving the jail. How did he escape?
Yeah, and how do you, usually if that happens on a person working in the jail, right, Ben, there's like 20 guards on it within about 10 seconds.
He wouldn't have gotten any further than the outside of that room where the warden should have been, or at least 2 guards, right, Right?
It's true.
Like how? And they probably would have assessed the room after he
Any
left.
type of meeting
Yeah.
with anyone, they are stripped, and like you make sure that they're not smuggling something back.
Sure.
It's a little different with, I guess,
Psychologist.
medical shit,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still searched.
Oh,
You're
I'm
not
sure.
stripped, but you're still searched.
I'm sure. I mean, there's always a Harley Quinn out there. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I get it. So, yeah, he escaped. No explanation. Like, that actually would have been an interesting scene, like, to see. There's a deleted scene that shows a fantasy of how he wants to escape, but then
Right.
flashes back to the reality of the scene and then just continues on.
Some of those takes in that deleted shit were better than what was put in the
Oh,
movie.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And-
So,
And like the extra time, it had to have been at least 4, maybe 3 or 4 extra minutes for better takes
yeah.
to put in the movie.
Oh yeah. So it's Junior is caught rifling through Flo's drawers, and they stumble upon not one but like 3 drawers of men's nudie magazines.
Yeah, very 80s ones.
Flo is just rubbing it out. Like, not just one. She is sexually repressed. Like, majorly repressed. And, like, the thing is that John Ritter has knowledge of it and is complacent through this whole movie that his wife is a horrible person and it is not attracted to him whatsoever, because she makes a line early in the movie of being like, we were having sex for nothing.
That was a good line. That was funny.
Yeah, no, it really is, because you could just see like a little part of his soul dies with every comment in this movie, which is, it's a typical Ritter move. Do you ever see a movie called Real Men with
No, I haven't.
James Belushi, where he's playing the same kind of character, like dopey and everything, and by the end has to stand up for himself, and like he's played the same thing consistently.
Well, see, that's just his character, man. Like he's always been, rest in peace, John Ritter. He's always had that, like that. Those are
Yeah.
roles that he can nail every time.
Oh yeah. So now the next door neighbors show up, and it's a mom and her little girl, and the little girl is immediately rude to him for no reason. It's not like she's like, I get a bad vibe off of Junior or anything. She's
Ew,
just rude.
You're adopted. Ugh.
Yeah, like who treats people like this?
Movie universe.
Yes, right? Because the little girl's like forced to invite him to her birthday party, and then the mom gives Flo and the family a fruitcake, which
It's customary in adoptions. You hand them a fruitcake.
you hand it. They got a shitty hand, so you hand them something shitty.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like this line here though. It says, "I don't want him at my party." And the mom gets auto. That she says, "But mother, he dresses like the man who cremated Uncle Leo." I thought that was a good line.
it's the part of the, and here's what I was saying about that, where I don't find this movie that endearing or funny to me, is that like these lines are so out of left field and like beyond the vocabulary and the cleverness that a 7-year-old would have, unless they're living in the world of South Park. Like, it's just not a thing. So every time he says something that's like extremely clever, go for it. There you go.
How many is that now? 6?
Well, one of them is John's.
Right. So every time
I cleaned it up
Junior
for
says
myself.
something, or this child or anything, it should be like, haha, it's funny. And I go, who talks like this? Like, it's so weird. It takes me out of the moment. But anyway, they are invited to that. Now, as this happens, the other next door neighbor invites them to go camping.
That's Roy.
Right? Roy? Okay. Thank you. Now, Roy invites them to go camping. They show up. Junior is slingshotting. I found this funny. He was slingshotting things off camera through the passenger side window as they're driving. And each bird is like, ow, ow. Like,
As people and all that
yeah,
shit.
that was
Well,
funny.
The first time he did it, he's like, what's going on? Like, he's shooting a slingshot, and then like he You know, he
Mhm.
did it again. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then the scene jumps over to Roy and Ben are in a tent, and he's like, "Look what I got!" And he's got a full-on bear hide, like not a bear costume, but a bear hide. Like he skinned a bear, and he even goes, "Where'd you get it?" He's like, "Don't worry about it." Like that's a thing you should probably mention. Like, where'd you get the bear hide, right? And then he proceeds to give him a hat that he made that says Dad, and Roy wears a hat that says Super Dad, and then it's not translated properly, but they're holding a mirror to look at each other, but it looks like they're just holding a picture frame because you never see the mirror because it's from the other side. So I was really confused with that.
I didn't notice that portion.
Yeah. So then it's all set up. You know what's going to happen. You absolutely know that basically this bear costume that looks extremely lifelike, and they're in the woods, is going to come back, and it's going to be a fake out. Like that's another problem with this movie, is that I feel like every single thing is so foreshadowed and set up. The only thing that actually wasn't was when he sees all the china, and he's like, "I hope you guys are insured." I was like, "Oh, that glass is going to break." None of that breaks. It was the only time in a movie where something wasn't foreshadowed properly.
It's true, but there's also that deleted scene with the helicopter going through the window,
And maybe there was more
the
that got
front
broken
door.
that we
Yeah.
never saw. Yeah, you're right.
That could have been it.
So, long story short on this one, Junior, of course, puts everybody's life in jeopardy, like has a stake and lures a real bear on a stick like a fishing line into the campsite, throws the stake in there. Like he's literally putting people's lives in jeopardy. Like, and it's played for laughs.
He's seven.
That was after the piss scene, right?
Yeah.
With the fire.
Yeah, he just pisses on the fire. I just
That
skipped
was
it.
funny. Come on
No,
now,
it's
man.
not funny.
It was just funny.
He exposed his little boy penis to multiple girls. That's not funny in today's world, let me tell you.
I didn't think about that, but the thing I like is the fact that the kids are making fun of him. And he just,
I just maybe I'm seeing too much of my own sibling in this situation. I'm very upset. I'm not quite sure, but either way, John Ritter, who has seen the bear costume or hide, and has heard the story that Roy was going to scare everybody, because that's what you do. By the way, you want to make sure that people are terrified for their life.
You traumatize your kids with a bear costume,
Right.
I mean, clearly,
Right. And thinks it's Roy, so he starts playing with the bear, and then the bear attacks him, and then it keeps jumping. Like anytime that the bear is touching John Ritter,
You can
it
tell.
is not even the bear hide of that, because even that was accurate.
Yeah.
This is more now of a fuzzy mascot type bear costume, and then when it switches, it keeps switching from bear touching him, mascot, bear on its own, bear.
yeah.
Real bear. And then that bear throws John Ritter, like pretty much he would have had some sort of at least a contusion, abrasion, something, not hurt, flies into the tents, and then the bear runs off, and here comes Roy immediately after in bear suit, and John Ritter proceeds to take a frying pan and bash his brains out. I just... It's
one of the best scenes in the movie. You have to admit that. This whole campfire scene is hilarious.
in a different movie.
No, this is a masterpiece.
Oh my god. So moving ahead for for the sake of exhaustion here. Now we are presented with it's the next day. There's little consequences to those actions other than John Ritter being like, I think there might be something wrong with my son. Which is like, what gave you that idea? And they go to the little girl's birthday party. Another enjoyable montage that then is kind of, I'm like, why isn't this little girl's watching all this happen and she's not tattletaling? Like, that would be the thing. If a little boy is ruining your party and you watch him cut the pigtails off of another girl, assaulting another human being with giant shears, would you not be like, this boy's ruining my birthday party? Secondly...
Yeah, because there's already reaction shots in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Secondly, he explodes a cake in front of everybody, and he throws all the presents into the pool. Where is this pool in relation to the rest of the party? I have no idea, because nobody sees him do this.
Well, I just like all the packages float.
Yeah,
Lily was on
every
TV
single
or something. Yeah.
Apparently, everybody gave her styrofoam. So, yeah,
Also,
cool montage, but
I don't know what parties you went to as a kid, but I don't remember one where like adults like come in with suit and ties and shit. This
well,
must be
that's the
risky, man,
'90s. That's the same thing as like,
Adam, we grew up in a poor town.
That's true.
yeah. I
Oh.
mean, also, it's the '90s. It's the same thing as in Ernest Scared Stupid. The moms were wearing like complete like turtleneck style things with that little like silhouette lady button. You know what I'm talking about? It's
Yeah,
like a
and the-
button
and
that
the
was like
shoulder pad,
ceramic
yeah.
silhouette lady. So I don't question the '90s that much anymore. But what I don't know is I don't know too many birthday parties that turned out to be a Halloween costume party.
It's true.
Yeah, I've heard a few of them, but not too many.
Right? Yeah, I mean, because Junior's dressed up like obviously the devil in this one, and pretty decent costume. But either way, we also get a establishing scene of the prune. It's so stupid. Like, why couldn't it be something important?
Like a,
why does it have to be a prune?
It could have been a pocket watch and done the same thing.
Anything, right?
It could have been a pocket watch.
Why a prune?
It still would have served its purpose at the end of the movie. And see, I forgot all about the fucking prune. I'll be honest with you. But I mean, I guess that's just how the John Ritter's character is. Like,
He's that
it's
dopey.
It's not even this. Like, if it was a watch, there's some value.
Sentimental,
to it.
right? It's the
And
fact that
there-
he's
It's
you're right.
something. But now it's just this fucking shriveled up plum.
Right.
That's what I got from my grandfather. He was a little senile at the end.
Right. It's like, okay, then throw that away.
But see, that's John Ritter's character.
I guess
He will cherish the smallest, most worthless thing.
He's basically my dad. Hey, look at this bottle cap that I found. It reminds me of our trip to Florida. That's my father.
Did he frame it?
Might as well. We'll see what happens. So, yep. I mean, but the prune is established. So, now we go over to a scene where he has put Junior on the baseball team with the rest of the kids that he coaches.
He's thrown on the team.
Thrown on the team. Yeah, there's no tryouts. There's nothing. He's just immediately on the team, right? And then proceeds to everybody's making fun of not only him but making fun of John Ritter.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? It was like loser or like
Son of Dork.
son of dork, right?
Mhm.
And people are chanting it. The whole place is chanting it, and nobody is like, "Hey, this is inappropriate."
Well,
Like
Junior fixes that situation.
by assaulting multiple children.
Now this scene is also really fucking funny. Was this also the scene where he goes to bat at first? It goes out of his hands and hits Big Ben's car.
Yes.
That's the
Okay.
second
That's
swing.
the second swing. Yes.
Second swing, it goes through Big Ben's car, and then the third swing is when he goes wild with the bat.
Right. Now, mind you, also, here's another thing about this movie is certain things seem deliberately malicious, and other things are like, whoops, like he actually made a mistake. Like the second swing bat, he could not have planned that. He could not have aimed that properly. So, like, there's certain things where you're like, I'm not quite sure how to react to this.
He's just, when he's destructive, even when he's not trying to be.
I guess so.
Which is why he got so, which is why he's just rejected by everybody.
No, I understand that, but and the next thing, and this is what I mean, is like, one, you have like, oh my god, I'm a problem child, but it was an accident, versus I'm a problem child who just put 3 children in the hospital. Like, and everybody, nobody's stopping it. After he beats down first baseman, they should have put a stop to it. Instead, they let him beat down second, first, and then punch the kid in the balls and home. They let him beat 4 people, and they just watch. They watch.
It's the 90s.
You're going to tell me that there's 4 parents, so maybe 8 parents if it's a father and father and mother that are watch their children just get beat down with an aluminum bat? Are we?
Yeah.
You guys are complacent too.
Yep. Because if they win, they're going to get ice cream, and if they lose, well, fuck it, we'll go get ice cream anyway.
I hope nobody's rewarded for this. So now we go to the confessional scene, right? he goes in. He's ready to give up. I think there was a scene they tried to give back Junior to, and this is kind of forgettable, like other than Gilbert Godfrey doing Gilbert Godfrey, but nothing other than being like you can't return him.
No, the way they find out
that he's been returned 30 times.
30 times,
Yeah.
and then John Ritter's like,
We can't give up on him.
my
That's
God.
right. That we can't
we
give up.
can't be
speech.
31.
Right. Yeah. And then he goes to the confessional, is asked what he can do. He's ready to give up too, and the father isn't there. It's actually Junior in the confessional and hears it all. And this is one of those scenes where it's like, oh, you've seen him for the past hour do horrible things to human beings, and now we're supposed to have a heart for him because somebody actually had the balls to be like, he's a piece of shit.
It's when you break down the sweetest guy in the movie to where you're like, fuck.
I hate this kid.
Now
I hate everything about him.
Now the
I hate
kid-
his stupid little ginger hair. I hate his stupid smile with his
You
buck
can't-
teeth.
you can't say that anymore.
I can. I can say it. I hate this kid. Oh, he doesn't even look good now. Have you looked him up?
we looked at him.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, because of this, Junior goes out into the car and locks himself in the car. And when John Ritter comes up to the car, he decides to start the engine and take off driving with John Ritter on the top of the car.
Yep. Right on
And
the hood.
Of course, they drive it directly into his father's store. Forgettable scene.
I feel like
other
Big
than that.
Ben's
There's a car chase, kind of.
Big Ben's was like that sporting goods store on Jumanji. Like they just reused that fucking set.
Oh, constantly. Oh, yeah. And then the next scene has his banker calling him, and it's like, bad news, your father drained your bank account in order to pay for the damages for the store. Not sure that's how bank accounts work.
Yeah, there's privacy issues associated with that.
Yeah.
Unless he was, for some reason at that age, still under a parental one.
Right? Then the movie
Thought he
goes...
sold it to the Japs.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be his problem anyway.
No, it wouldn't. But it would be, like, if the deal's not... He said he was going to sell it to the Japs, so it'd still be his problem right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the movie's like, oh, yeah, we forgot the bow tie killer is a part of this film. Because he comes back. He has... I can only assume, I'll give the movie the benefit of the doubt, that Junior has been writing to him since he's been at this house and gave him the new address, the return address or whatever. Because there's no other way that he knows where they live.
Correct.
And then proceeds to have dinner with them. Meanwhile, nobody's recognized him prior to this.
I never call him that.
Huh?
I never call it that incident when Noah's recognized the notorious serial killer.
No. Notorious serial killer who's...
There was that scene at the gas station, though, where he sees the wanted poster and has the cop out there, right?
It's not a wanted poster. It's the circus
it's a
poster for the
circus
circus
poster.
later
Okay.
on in the movie.
Got it.
And he decides to hold that in front of his face.
Uh-huh.
Because that's not suspicious.
Yeah.
Walking
Not
with a
whatsoever.
fucking big old poster.
You should have just stayed in the gas station
Mhm.
until they left. They were literally just filling up their motorcycles and then going upon their way.
Yeah. It was Chips back there. I mean, he was filling up his car too. He had to steal that beater
Mhm.
out in the back while someone was under it.
Ran over him. 34 confirmed kills. And so he sits down and Flo is like, do you need more food? And he's like, yeah. And she goes in there and he's immediately like staring her down and he's going to rape her. Like, he's going to rape her in a children's movie. And so he goes in there and immediately comes on to her and he forces himself on her, but she doesn't push away. She kisses back. And then they proceed to just fuck on the kitchen floor.
She said 15 years and she threw him down.
Right.
But
Meanwhile, John Ritter is in the other room with the child and he's like catatonic.
yeah, he's not even there anymore. I feel like as a kid, I feel like there was more cleavage and more shown
From
with-
her?
with-
I'm down for that.
from
She's
her
hot.
because what we saw, you know, it wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough for a children's movie.
It wasn't enough to be like, oh, she's seducing him, or like, oh, I see what he's thinking. Like, it's just like, oh, you can kind of see a little bit of cleave. Come on,
Right.
come on,
I guess.
come on, Shelley.
So it's the next morning, and John Ritter is kind of catatonically walking around. He misses the giant writing in what I can only assume is lipstick on the wall of a ransom note saying, "I have your wife and kid. Give me $100,000." And then he finally sees it, and this was an enjoyable scene for me.
His celebration.
Yeah, his celebration that the child is gone out of his life, his horrible wife is gone. The killer can keep him if he likes. I love this scene because it was fun to see him break like this dopey character where I was like, get some balls, and he finally does. So then he goes up to the room and finds the prune. But in my mind, I would be like, well, this little piece of shit didn't even keep the prune that I gave him. Why does he feel endeared in this moment other than the fact that he drew a nice picture of him versus everybody else that he knows? It's not enough. It's not. This man is broke. His bank account is drained. His life is in shambles. I'd have been like, keep that kid. But he doesn't.
Okay, I said life insurance policy.
Right? Something.
Fucking Flow.
So,
She's got Progressive.
if somebody kidnapped your kid, your wife, and he was a notorious serial killer, what's the first thing you think you would do?
Cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Authorities.
Yeah. Something, especially because he's already an established killer that they're on hunt for. So now it would make it easier to find him if he's carting around a redhead, two redheads.
You'd think there would be a reward or something. He'd get reward money for getting a escaped convict serial killer.
So instead, he goes to his father to ask for money. His father immediately says no, and then gets caught on camera because he's about to do a live broadcast. Meanwhile, I think I mentioned it once very briefly. Like, his father is running for mayor, and that's why he's selling the store. He don't give a shit about the store anymore. And this is where he admits that he doesn't care about the voters, and the voters can kiss his ass.
He goes live TV. This is one of the funniest scenes of the video.
I love
This is
the
Bare man ass. And I'm cool with it. I'm fine with it. It's funny.
Well, I like where it says
I love
for-
Warren. So
I like where it says like for Americans. You don't have to believe that.
right. But what's so telling about this scene is that we're living that reality now, because I'm pretty sure he was probably still voted mayor. Does anybody know in the sequel?
It's
Like,
not
what's he
mentioned.
doing? No.
Oh, he goes to the new franchise. It's mentioned briefly of what happened. I can't remember exactly though.
Well,
I'll
they
just
actually
research
paid
real
attention to
quick.
that detail.
Yeah, let me just research real quick.
Okay. So he realizes that that's not going to work. So he decides to go on his own to go after them. Where did he get the money? Did he even have money in that bag?
But you don't ever know what's in that bag.
Right. So basically, the bow tie killer is like, hey, come meet me at this circus, because I guess a lot of people,
Yeah.
something like that. But also a lot of people to recognize you. Like,
Also true.
doesn't make any sense.
Cops don't go to the circus.
Yeah, they're not guarding the circus or anything. So they meet up at the circus. They try to do a handoff where he's like, give me the bag. And he's like, give me the child. Excuse me, folks.
Bless you, buddy.
Oh, thank you, sir. And then he does a fake out. He's like, no, like he pulls the child back, and they should have met in the middle, but they don't. And I'm gonna sneeze again.
Do it. They come in threes. You got another one.
Thank you. Yeah, more than likely. And he's like, come with me on the road, Junior. The bow tie killer says that, and like, I just don't care in this time. And like, I just don't care anymore. I'm like, go with him. I don't care. Leave John Ritter. Leave John Ritter alone. That's the only person I care about. And so, Junior decides to kick the bow tie killer, and then for some reason, the bow tie killer decides he's going to chase Junior around instead of just getting the hell out of there with his money.
Like, no, he doesn't have the money.
Oh, Junior takes the bag.
Junior takes the bag.
It. See, this is where I was just like, this movie's gone off the rails a long time ago.
No. Junior's
All
wearing.
right, you go then.
Junior's wearing the backpack. So when he's because when he climbs that trapeze thing.
Oh, you mean where the trapeze artists are like, hey, there's a kid involved now. Let's make it part of the show.
Yeah. Well, he has the backpack on, and they're actually, when they're going through the different handles, they're grabbing him by the backpack. So he has the money.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So Junior somehow knows exactly what rope to pull to make him fall off the trapeze.
But Kramer also it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
Yep. Cochran.
Oh, damn it. It's been years since I said that.
So,
but see, here's the thing. He was on like the first, if not the second, handlebar of that skit.
Sure.
Then there was like 5 of them. So when Junior pulls that cord, Kramer's not the only one fucking falling.
Yeah. But who cares? I mean, there's a personal injury, no
you
problem.
You don't see anything other than Kramer falling into the
By the way, I'm
pit.
sure somebody got hurt in that car crash in that store. Somebody had to have been dead.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. And then instead of just letting him go, they proceed to chase him like in a car chase where Junior is driving the car and John Ritter is out the sunroof. Meanwhile, John Ritter stole that car. So he should be at the end of the movie wanted for Grand Theft Auto. But that's never addressed either.
Citizen's arrest is what they were trying to go for. So it was okay for him to steal the car.
What?
No.
I
made that up. I made that up.
No. That neighbor should be reporting that car stolen.
That was the last scene with Big Ben, right? He's on this.
Big Ben after the moon.
Yeah, I thought it was the last scene.
That's it.
So in Problem Child 2, it says.
Oh, we're back to that. Okay.
Yeah, I finally found it. There's a pretty funny line here where he shows up at Little Ben's thing. It says, "Dad, you hate me." He says, "Okay, you figured me out." It says he followed Chapter 11. His SNL crashed and the creditors were after him, so he needs a place to hide out. That's in the script, which means he's on the run from the law, apparently.
Okay.
The mayorship's not mentioned.
Okay.
So maybe he obviously wasn't elected after that moon scene.
Okay. Well, at least some voters are smart. So, they have a shotgun. I guess it was because Roy's a hunter. It was in his car. Right. That's cool. I accept that one.
But hold on.
What? What?
He was going to go camping with the kids, right?
Sure.
So, in the grand scheme of the layout of he's packed up to go camping.
Sure.
With the kids.
His gunshots in his shotguns in the back
with
seat.
the kids.
Well, maybe he. I don't know. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
That's exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
The shotgun would be in the back seat with the kids.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was the 90s. Let's go.
You guys have defended the rest of this movie. I don't know why you're picking that apart.
I mean, fucking why not?
So
I got some booze in me
now. He shoots the trunk open, and inside the trunk, Flo is inside the trunk. But not just inside the trunk. She's inside the trunk, inside of a suitcase? I've seen those suitcases. You can't fit a human being in that unless it's burning.
Wait, he took her out.
Too.
There's the shot where he takes her out in the suitcase and she's screaming, right? Out of the house? Oh, I thought that was
No, he puts her in the back seat. Then she takes the gag off. He puts her in a suitcase in the trunk.
Okay.
You can fit a human being into a suitcase. I've seen and watched enough of the,
I only remember Bernie from part 2 being in a suitcase. And he was stuffed in there.
I used to be a big forensic files and fucking ID.
Yeah, but that all sounds like dead bodies that are okay with being crushed and broken and everything. It's a live human being.
You can still fit a goddamn body in it without dismembering it.
Crushed and broken.
And Yasmin Bleeth, that's not Yasmin
no,
Bleeth. What the fuck's her name?
No, her name is Amy.
Amy Yasmic.
Yes.
Flo.
Yes.
She's petite enough to fit in there. She's got no wreck, even though Kramer seemed to see through it.
Okay. So, okay. Anyway, too much on that one. Kramer hits a bump. The suitcase flies up in the air, and
Convenient.
they catch it on the roof of their car. They don't even know that she's in it until she immediately starts yelling, and he's like, "Flo!" And then they hit a
pushes it
bump.
off.
And no, you don't push it off.
I would
They
push
hit
it
a
off.
bump, and she falls over an underpass and into the back of a steak bed that has pigs in it.
Well,
And she drives away.
that's very convenient. It would have been a lot bloodier had she hit the
Oh, yeah.
pavement.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody's lucky in this movie.
Yes.
The car crashes, does a spin move up in the air, crashes down. The cops come. They try to arrest Michael Richards, but not before he grabs one of their guns, shoots John Ritter in the chest, and then you get a tender, soft, touching moment from Junior, who's like, "I love you, don't die," and you're like, "I don't give a shit anymore."
He calls him Dad.
Yeah. And
Daddy.
yeah, he calls him Dad, and then he's like, "Oh my God, my father's campaign button, it must have saved me." And he's like, "Well, wait, no, because it
It's
went through that."
Just cheap,
Yeah.
cheap shit. Yeah.
Right? And pulls out the prune, and the prune is what actually stopped the bullet from going into his chest. And I'm just over here, like, my eyes sunk into the back of my skull at this point. And there's
like,
a lot of hatred on this one for me.
Tells the cops, like, it's okay. He hit me in the prune.
He hit me in
and-
the prune!
And the cop's like, good enough for me. He just left.
Yep. And then the movie just roll credits, and it has a extremely annoying title sequence theme song.
Well, you didn't even mention one of the funniest parts of this movie.
I don't know,
That's
like
what happens in
with
the back
another
of that
urine.
at the back of that truck. when it
Oh, I
floats.
didn't even care.
That was funny. I
Why
don't care
was
what
that
the
funny?
pig's ass farting in her face.
I'm understanding now. Like he's
It was
just a
ju-
toilet humor guy.
Well, the thing is, it's just so over the
It's
top
shocking
and in your
for him.
face.
I know it is because he's so high. He's so
Yeah.
highbrow on
Yes.
everything else,
But
and he
dick-
loves
I
dick,
urination
is
fart, and
shit,
cum
yep.
jokes.
Well,
Exactly.
I needed some balance in my life. Yeah.
I guess so. So that was Problem Child. Gentlemen, we do a little thing here called the W's. Basically, like who would you recommend this to? Why would you recommend this? Like go through the W's: who, what, where, when, and why. Adam?
Every single child in America needs to watch this film.
I can't take you seriously.
Yeah, I don't think this movie will come out nowadays. So that's why I'm curious about this reboot that I just read about. It's been in development for a few years now, if it's still happening.
Okay, so
But they're not going to make the racial jokes. They're not going to have the sexual aggression happening.
God damn it. And see, that's what the worst part is. The world we live in now, everyone's so fucking sensitive to where if they did like a real, like, oh, I'm selling to the Japs, fucking, they're getting their ass sued off. Like, it's not going to be the real goddamn thing.
Okay.
So the thing is, this,
What? Go on.
man, they should probably leave it alone.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, it's 4% on fucking Rotten Tomatoes.
Hey, don't mock
I mean,
me
there's
on
the
it.
one thing is there's some really good laughs in this movie. Don't watch it if you are looking for a sentimental message.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
No sentimental anything.
and you also have to keep in mind, because I had this problem showing some things with my girlfriend who was born in 1993, is the fact that you need to be under a certain mindset when you watch films
What,
like
on
this
drugs?
from this era. No, well, you have to keep in mind, you're not going to find masterpiece here because there's a lot of gross out humor and things like that in this film. It's just like when you watch a really bad horror movie, and we talked about this earlier, because apparently some assholes on YouTube who don't like Cookman 2, they don't realize that you're supposed to make fun of films like it's bad on purpose.
Hookman 2 was never meant to be a serious fucking film.
Right.
That's exactly my
But
point.
that's not this
They-
movie.
Yeah, well, they were caught in between. That was the issue.
I don't
Stop
know.
touching that, man.
I think
You stop touching.
I think
I'm not touching it.
I think this movie falls victim to multiple disagreements, and there was a conflict of interest and writing, and all sorts of things, and it shows. And would I recommend this? Absolutely not.
I have great news for you, though.
What?
You don't see that in the sequel that we're gonna do.
Okay.
That's even more like gross out here, but over the top stuff.
Right.
There-
But
That's true.
see,
there's a love story involved,
I
but
would
it's not over sappy.
understand. I would understand where the sequel, like, kind of zeroes in, understanding what
You need
whoever did like it, what its audience is now.
because they bring in the love stone.
What stone? There's a stone.
The love stone.
Yeah, it's a giant statue thing. It's a
Oh,
plot
dude, it's
twist,
gonna blow
man.
your fucking mind.
Oh God, you guys are way too fan crazy for this movie.
Well, again, like we saw this really, really often in the '90s. I mean, it was all in USA all the fucking time.
Ugh.
I don't remember having it on VHS.
I'll
But-
say, I will say it lost a little bit of its luster, but upon watching it, you see the scene, you fucking know exactly what's going to happen. You see the fucking, as soon as they go in the store, you know, the little kid's trying to buy the canteen. They're playing baseball. You know, Junior's going to go fucking crazy with a bat. You know, every scene that you see, if you watched it as a kid, you know the scene. So, I mean, it could be a big old piece of shit for some people, but for the people that watched it as kids, you remember it. Like, it carries on with you. Bad, good, doesn't matter. Like, it's memorable. That means something. When a lot of the shit we watch, like, there's Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes that we watch. We clearly watched them as kids, but they weren't good enough to fucking, you know, stay in your memory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess for me, you know, I'd recommend it to plenty of people.
Okay. I found the child irritating. I found everybody.
That's kind of the
like,
point.
Yeah, but beyond, like, there's a difference between, like, when I watch, like,
You're
the Dennis
supposed
the
to hate
Menace
him.
90s movie, or I watch.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's awful.
It's in that same realm. I hate that kid. I hate this kid. The kid is not enjoyably evil or bad. He is just annoying in this way of
Yeah, you want him to get sent back to the orphanage. That's the whole point.
I don't know if the movie
the Dennis
caught
the Menace,
that point.
The Dennis the Menace thing. The only part
That kid was endearing.
The
He
only
was
part
cute.
that made me laugh was when they fed Christopher Lord all those
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
beans, and then that key gets lost. You never like he finds the key, but he also is handcuffed with his pants up.
Sure.
So how the
I
fuck does he
guess.
find the key?
I don't know, but that's a whole different movie. So, yeah, that just about does it. Gentlemen, you have anything to plug?
Well, again, check out our Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast. It's called We're Not Afraid of the Dark. It is on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker, wherever you get your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Again, John Young was on 2 episodes of ours for season 2.
Absolutely. Hoping to have Jared on for you guys at one point. It's a whole nother bag of laughs there. Like, like his humor is like on a whole nother level. Like, he sees things that I never see, and vice versa. So
Very good.
hopefully we can do that. Anything else?
Yeah, I still need to go through your damn list for this podcast here.
No, yeah, we'll do that off air. It's fine. I'm not having you go through 1,100 movies on air.
Well, I was going to read them all and then just talk about each one for a brief minute.
Yeah.
I feel like how about
Terrible
we
idea.
go ahead and we leave that in suspense.
Yeah, good idea,
Okay.
especially considering this podcast episode is actually longer than the movie.
Hey, that's kind of typical for us. It's fine.
Yeah.
I do not put limits on what people have to say. I do not stifle
Here's one
creativity
thing well,
like Universal did with this movie.
yeah, and one more tidbit here.
Yeah.
On Google, for Google users, 85% liked this movie. So maybe it was just those assholes around Tomato.
Are you talking about like Google Plus users? Because there's like 5 of them.
Yeah, but it works for Google.
Yeah, so as always, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to Bombs Away. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Bombs Away Show. Contact us, write us a personal email. Tell me if you thought that I was too harsh on this film, because I'm sure there's people like Adam and Ben out there who really have a soft spot for this film, and it's kind of why I let it happen. Like, I like a little controversy just as Adam does sometimes. So if you disagreed with what I had to say and you want to defend Junior to the ends of the earth, please write us, contact at bombsawayshow.com. other than that, I'd like to thank my guest, Adam and Ben Durham. And please go check out our episodes on their show, We're Not Afraid of the Dark. You can look that up wherever podcasts are found, like Adam said. For Bonds Away, my name is Jonathan Young. We will see you next week. Other than that, until next time.
Hey guys, John here from the Bonds Away podcast, and I'm here to talk to you about the place where we record. That's right, the Frida Cinema. What is the Frida Cinema? Well, it's a program of the Long Beach Cinematheque here in California, and it serves Santa Ana and neighboring communities as a non-profit art house cinema dedicated to enriching, connecting, and educating communities through the art of cinema. But it's so much more than that. Guys, not only do they screen amazing films here, but they also hold out-of-this-world special events. And when we're talking about special events, we're talking about shadow casting. Shadow casting, if you don't know, is where actors perform in front of the movie that you're seeing, and they have costumes, and they're doing audience participation, and it is just an amazing event. The shadow casting that we do here is films such as Rocky Horror, or Little Shop of Horrors, or Repo the Genetic Opera, or even The Forbidden Zone. Wow, The Forbidden Zone. Like, when's the last time you saw that? Or maybe shadow casting isn't your thing, but what about rooftop cinemas? That's right. Right on our rooftop, we do special screenings of throwback movies that you love, including Ghostbusters, or the current Beauty and the Beast, Guardians of the Galaxy, or even Jurassic Park. And that's not the only thing with these rooftop cinemas. They also have special people that show up, special guests, including the Orange County Ghostbusters and their vehicles and their costumes, or maybe Jurassic Park and the Jurassic Park Jeep. You ever gotten a photo with any of these things? I have, and it's because I was there at these events. So if you're looking for special events to go to, or like out of this world, just crazy audience participation things like Scott Pilgrim and with lights and sound and like things that you've never even seen before, go to the Frida Cinema. You can check out the Frida Cinema locations, filming, schedules, and everything entertainment-wise at www.thefridacinema.org. Or you can follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/thefridacinema, and on Instagram and Twitter at the Frida Cinema. The Frida Cinema, for the filmmakers, for the film goers, and for you.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?